We will start now. Today we are going to discuss about EC2. EC2 is Elastic Compute Cloud, where we can create instances, that means servers. Okay, so this is the EC2 dashboard. Basically, EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. Okay, whenever you need any server, you can go to here and launch a server, depends on your requirement. Okay, so here I see running instances 0, dedicated host 0, volume 0, everything is 0. I have few security groups I created. Let me delete these security groups as well for now, and I'll create again. Oh, wait. I'll keep the default ones and I delete whatever I created. Okay, so now this is EC2 dashboard. So in order to launch any EC2 instance, you have to go to launch instance button. Here, there are total 7 steps at the above. If you can see here, total 7 steps are there to launch an instance. So in first step, choose AMI. AMI stands for Amazon Machine Image, which is an image of an operating system or operating system with any other application. So you can select these images. So in the left hand side, you can see Quick Start, AMI, My AMI, Marketplace, Community Images, and Free tier only. So this indicates Quick Start. In Quick Start, you can have all the base images of different operating systems. The first one, Amazon Linux, is the own Linux flavor of AWS, and Red Hat, SUSE Linux, Ubuntu, Windows. You see, if you are the free tier eligible. Free tier eligible means you will not be charged any penny for um, these images. But if you see few more here in Windows, Windows Server 2016 with SQL Server Express, that means you will get Windows Server Data Edition and Microsoft SQL Server 2000 Express Edition installed on that. So these are the operating system images you can have. So in Quick Start you can have only few images, but after launching a machine, you can modify your operating system and you can um, install your applications, and then you can create your own image. I don't have any image right now, but I'll tell you how to create images. Okay, so these are the images given by default, and my images section you will find your own images. We are going to create those images as well. And AWS Marketplace, you can have many more images. Depends on your application, um, anything. So for example, if you want a LAMP server is a web hosting server. LAMP stand for Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. Okay, if you see here, if I search LAMP, it is just like App Store. Okay, AWS Marketplace is like App Store. So there are different kind of images for the LAMP. The first one is on CentOS. That means on CentOS, I installed everything required for a web server. I mean, Apache, MySQL, PHP, all are installed on top of this CentOS. But here we have another image by Bitnami. Okay, so if you want any more details, you can see here. Ready to run LAMP development environment includes Apache, MySQL, PHP, and PHP MyAdmin. Okay, regularly updated with latest stable version. So these are the images you can choose, depends on your requirement. For example, if I want Tomcat. If I want Tomcat server. So these are the Tomcat servers provided. Yeah, if you want Jenkins image, you can simply go for it. You don't need to install anything. But for practice purpose, don't go for Jenkins image. I want you to install by yourself so that you can understand better how to install on that. Okay, and these are the community images. Okay, so you can find it, but this might be the last option for you because anyone can put community images. So you need to check carefully before going to community images. Okay, so I'm going to quick start and I'm selecting Ubuntu image. So here in the next step, these are the instance types. That means how much resources you want for that particular machine. For example, in terms of CPU, memory utilization, etc. If you see here, here are number of CPUs and here is um, memory in GB. So if you check here, you can find different sizes of available. So you can choose whatever you want. Okay, there is one link, EC2 instance types. Here you have all the instance types listed here. Depends on the purpose, how you can use and what is your purpose, everything. So few are memory intense, few are CPU intense, and few are storage intense. So depends on that, your requirement, you have to choose that particular image. But for now, here I see T2 micro, which has 1 CPU and 1 GB of memory, so which is free. You can see here free tier. So I'm choosing the free tier for now. Okay, so here is the thing, configuration section. The first option indicates how many instances you want to launch at a time. Now I'm launching instance. If I give 2 here, two servers will be launched. Okay, and purchasing option, see here, request for spot instance. Spot instance is like a bidding. Okay, so actually each EC2 instance will cost something. Let me tell you, is EC2 pricing. See, in EC2 pricing you have four types of servers. One is on demand. On demand is like if you want to run an instance continuously, go for on demand. Normally, most of the servers are running as a on demand instances, and spot instance is like, let us see, on demand instance pricing. Spot instance are nothing but a temporary instances. For example, uh, my server costs $100 per month, for example. Okay, so that means it is hourly basis. It normally charges me less than $1. I can bid like, for example, if it say for example it costs $1 per hour. Okay, I bid like, if it costs 10 cents, then run a server, launch a server. Okay, whenever the price comes to 10 cents, I will launch a server so that I can save my money. But these are not for continuous servers. So why these people give is, on one physical machine they run um, so many instances virtually. But there are still space available on that physical machine. Amazon wants to sell that space as a spot instances. So the demand increases and decreases. If there are very less dedicated, on-demand instances running on that particular physical machine, then the cost will be low for spot instances. If there are more on-demand servers running on physical machine of Amazon, then cost will rise. Depends on that, you can choose. And also reserved instance. Reserved instance means if you have a requirement for an instance for 1 or 2 years, you can uh, reserve upfront and pay upfront to Amazon so that they will give you discount. Okay, it will be charged. See here, the last point. Consumers that can commit to using EC2 over a 1 or 3 year term to reduce their total computing costs. Okay, and dedicated host is nothing but normally what happens is whenever you launch any EC2 instance, it will be hosted on a shared physical machine. That means your company and other company can have the same physical machine and instances running on that. But many companies don't use those shared instances because of the security reasons, and then they take dedicated host. That means if I take a dedicated host, Amazon will assign me a dedicated physical machine in their data center, and all the instances I launch will be created on top of that dedicated host, which is very costly affair. Okay, so these are the types of instances you launch here, purchasing options, and if you see here, yeah, depends on the operating system. It has given the pricing list. This is hourly basis. Okay, remember that. Remember that AWS charges you as per hour. Okay, as per hour tariff. If you launch a server for a minute and shut down, it costs you. Okay, so whenever you start, you have to calculate these things, and yeah, it will only charge for the uptime. But if you shut down any machine, you will not be charged. That is the main benefit of AWS. You only pay for what you use. Okay, so this is a price list. You can check if you want, and you can compare with Windows operating system and all. Windows is obviously costlier than Linux. Okay, you can check all these things. Okay, normally what we use are on-demand servers. What instances is like they will start automatically. If you have such configuration, they will start automatically when price comes down, and it gets shut down when price rises. But there is no use for that. For larger organizations, it may be useful, but smaller organizations go for reserved or dedicated hosts. Okay. For now, I am not selecting any request for spot instance. Okay, so I'm selecting default VPC here and a subnet. A subnet is nothing but a part of, what we do is VPC is a network basically. We subnet those networks so that each subnet will act as a separate network. Okay, so within that network you have like a separate subnets. Each will act as a separate network, and these subnets will communicate each other. Okay, so in my Oregon region, see here at the top left, it is US West Oregon. That is the region I selected. These are the AWS regions. So you can create um, any instance in any region, depends on your client. For example, if my client is in Singapore and I want to provide better access for my clients, I'll create my data center in all the instances in Singapore region so that he can access easily. Okay, so most of the cases most of the cases people use US East or West, which are the cheaper AWS instance. Depends on the regions also, the cost may differ. Okay, so depends on your client's requirement and your client's region, you select the um, AWS regions. Okay, inside each region, for example, in US West Oregon region, I have 3 availability zones. On each availability zone, I have one subnet. Okay, so for example, I'm selecting US East, US West to A. Okay, US West 2 is my region ID and A is my availability zone. A, B, C are my availability zones. Okay, so in default VPC, I have chosen one subnet. Okay, so assign public or private ID. Okay, assign public or private ID, IP. Uh, do you have any idea of public IP and private IP? Public IPs are publicly accessible. Private IPs are only used for office purpose. For example, the IPs that start with 10.127.16.198.168. These IPs are used for internal purpose of a company. Those IPs cannot be used as a public IPs for your web servers and all. Okay. So by default it is enabled. Use subnet settings. It is enabled. I am not disabling for now. So let us check what happens. Okay. I keep it as usual. And here is IAM roles. In IAM section we discussed about roles, right? Where normally what you will do is you assign groups to users. Okay, you attach groups to users. Group has set of policies. Like the same way, your role has set of policies and you attach that role to your EC2 instance, so that that particular EC2 instance will have access to particular resources. For example, here I'll select S3 role. If you don't want to select, you can choose for none. Okay, but remember that you cannot add role later after launching the machine. So select any empty role. By default, just create one dummy role and give nothing, or just give CloudWatch and just create it. In future, if you want, you can add other policies to that particular role. Okay. So you got my point, right? I have one role. Let me go to my IAM and show you. So in my IAM, I have 5 roles here. Okay. In my S3 role, I have given full access policy to this role. Okay, in my role, I have S3 full access. So whenever I select S3 role here for this instance by default will have complete access to S3. You got my point? We don't need to use any, access keys and security key to access that. This is more secure way of doing things. If you attach any policy, any role to one server, whatever policies you attach to that particular role will be applied to that server. That server will have access to all other resources as per your role. Okay. Please let me know if you still have any doubts. Okay, you can interrupt me at any point of time. Okay, and now shutdown behavior. Shutdown behavior has two things. When I shut down, it should stop or terminate. Terminate means it will completely delete the server. So normally we have to choose stop. Okay, when I shut down, server should not be deleted. It should be just stopped. Depends on your requirement, you choose this, but please go for stop. And enable termination protection. Protect against accidental termination. Whenever you want to terminate, that means you want to delete a server completely. If you just hit that, it will be deleted. But in order to protect that, you have to enable this termination protection policy. So whenever you try to delete, terminate the instance, it will ask you to disable the policy. It is more secured way. I'll tell you why while deleting the instance. And enable CloudWatch monitoring. There is a service called CloudWatch which monitors EC2 instances performance. So if you want to enable it, you can enable. For now, I'm not enabling anything. Okay, so tenancy. If you want to use dedicated hardware or shared hardware is more cheaper than anything, but companies do use these dedicated instances. Depends on your company policy, you can select the one. Because I'm selecting shared now, which is very cheaper. Okay, so you can give any IP, depends on your zone. If you are following any order for IPs to assign, you can simply check one IP here. So we don't have any I mean any servers running, so you can give any IP, it will take. That IP should be in this network. Let me show you. In VPC, I am creating, I have few subnets, and I am going for the subnet 2A. Okay. In this subnet, I can create any IP within this range. See, I can create 172.16.1.12 1.224. I can assign any number of IPs. Okay, so for now I am leaving it for AWS itself with the option auto assign. That means it will create one, it will choose one IP from the available IPs. That is a better option for me. And here is the advanced details section. We call it user data. So I have chosen one Ubuntu operating system, Ubuntu base image, which has nothing inside that, right? There is nothing inside that, just but the operating system installed on it. But on top of that, I want to install few things. For example, Apache server and VI editor, for example. So in that case, I can run my own shell. We will have the section for shell scripting as well in bash. So I'm giving few Linux commands. apt-get is a repository for Ubuntu. So first of all, I'll update apt-get install -y vim apt-get install -y. Apache 2 is the package name. Okay, this is my simple script. You can write a script whatever you want, that depends on your requirement, or you can choose your script file from here so that it will take the script file and it runs it. And one more option is there. I think input is already base 64 encoded. I am not sure what it is. Okay, and if you want to choose any file, you can choose the script file from here. So I'm now installing these two. Okay, after launching the machine, we will check whether these are installed or not. Let Okay. So next, storage. So how much storage you want for that particular machine? That means your hard disk. What can be the capacity of the hard disk? You can give any size that you want. But it has chosen 8 by default because that operating system at least needs 8 GB. If you want to increase, you can simply increase the number. For example, I'm choosing 10. In free tier, you can have up to 30 GB of disk size, but if you cross that, AWS will charge you. Okay, so depends on that, you can choose that, or you can add additional disks if you want. See the difference. It says it is EBS and it is root volume. Both are EBS volumes, but root volume consists operating system, where EBS additional volumes will be like um, your, what we say, additional disks. Okay, so these are the numbers you can choose. If one is for B and another one is C, SDC, SDB, like this. So always remember, dev SDA1 is for root volume, which has operating system. So now I don't need any additional disks for now. Okay. So and we check other options as well. Volume types. There are basically 3 volume types. One is general purpose, which is a I mean, good performance, not bad, good performance, and provisional IOPS has the best performance, and this is a magnetic disk normally we use. Okay, depends on that. You can choose whatever you want. In most cases, for saving data, general purpose is enough. But provision IOPS has more IOPS. See here, see the change. You have 100 IOPS here. Baseline of 3 IOPS per GB with a minimum of 100. Okay, pure stable to burstable to 3000 IOPS. So 100 to 3000 IOPS you can use general purpose. IOPS means input output per second. So that means how fast you can read a disk. You can read and write a disk. Okay, how fast your disk is. Depends on that, you have to choose. For example, if your application is doing more reads and writes in large scale, go for provisioned IOPS. It will support up to I think 20,000 IOPS. Yeah, you can give the number here. Okay, if you are using any web server, general purpose is okay for you. But see, that depends on your requirement. If your application is doing more reads and writes to disk, and you want to speed up your machine, then go for provisioned IOPS. Okay. And encryption, you can choose encryption so that all your data will be encrypted and saved, and your application only can access the data but no one else. Okay, but the type I selected is T2 micro, which doesn't support encrypted type. So if you want, you can go for higher instance types so that you can encrypt your data. Okay, so is that clear? If you have any doubts, please ping me or ask me so that I clear at the moment. Okay, next, tags. Tags are nothing but value keys and values, which is for your recognition. Okay, name. So here is the tricky part. How do you name your servers in real time is very important. Okay, so normally we don't say like web server 1, web server 2, like that. Instead, we use some particular naming convention, which I tell you. Oh, are you able to hear me? Can you ping me, please, if you are not able to hear me? Yes, are you able to hear me? Hello?
Hello?
Okay, fine, fine. Because my audio button is showing something else, that's why I got that. Okay, so in naming, in real time, there is a particular naming convention. You don't use normal names and like whatever you want. Okay, naming convention will be like this. For example, you are using Ubuntu machine. Okay, you are using Ubuntu machine and you have Apache on it. Apache is a web server. Okay, you have Apache on it, and for example, um, your client is, for example, LG. Okay, LG is your client. So normally, how you name these things is, okay, um, like your client name, your client name. If it is production machine or pre-production UAT, for example, it is UAT machine designed for user acceptance test. Okay, it is Ubuntu machine and it is web server 1 or web server A. So by looking at this, if you differentiate like this, it says this server belongs to my client LG and this is user acceptance test machine. Okay, and it is Ubuntu operating system and it is web server. That means it represents what you are using and it is server 1. If you have two servers, for example, if you have two server, oh sorry, you have second server, my second server will be this. You can use alphabets or numbers, that depends on your wish, but the naming convention should follow one convention, so that you can simply by looking at that name, you need to be it should be understandable. For example, if I have production machine, so it is Pro UBT Web -A, LG Pro UBT App -A. So if you have Ubuntu server, sorry, what I say, if you have application server, you can name it app or anything. So this name should represent some information. Okay, companies follow different types of naming conventions. What I have uh, demonstrating here is just an example, one of the example that depends on the applications you use. You got my point? So you don't give any random numbers. Say if you are hired by any company and you want someone assigns you, for example, someone assigns you task to launch a server. So you have to ask for naming convention if they are following, or you can simply explain the naming convention, which is very professional way. Okay. So these are the things normally people use. So I use the same thing here. For example, I have Ubuntu Web -A. I don't have any clients, or otherwise I'll give, this is the development box, or I'll give like this, POC. Okay. So you need to follow the naming conventions, and if you have anything else, for example, platform is Linux. So you can give naming conventions like this, and function is development, function is dev. So it depends on these tags. In IAM, you can create policies. For example, if the function is dev, you can give the condition like if the function is dev all the developers will have access to this server. Like that also you can choose your keys, but make sure that you don't need to use more tags. Okay, make it simple to 4 to 5, and give client name if you want. Likewise, these names are not standard. You can give anything, but follow the same names throughout your work. Okay, for all the machines. Okay. Next is security groups. Why do you need security groups? Okay, you can select from the existing one and create one new. So I'm create one new for web server. This is used for web servers. Okay, so SSH. SSH used for connecting a Linux machine, first of all. And I'm installing Apache. That means I have to choose HTTP and I have to choose HTTPS. So HTTPS is a secured HTTP. HTTP is Hypertext Transfer Protocol, and this is a secure HTTP. So these are the ports it runs on. HTTP runs on 80 and HTTPS on 443. You have this port should be in your mind whenever you are going to any interview, so that people ask you. SSH uses port number 22. FTP also uses port number 22. Both work on the same protocol. Okay, so SSH also work on FTP protocol. So this number, you need to remember these numbers. Okay, and here are the things: custom, anywhere, my IP. If you select anywhere, you can access. By default, it is anywhere because, sorry, anywhere, because that is the web content. You can people should be able to browse from anywhere. But if it's SSH, you can choose your office network or your gateway IP, so that only your people from your office can only access these servers. Okay. For now, I'm choosing all because I'm publicly I'm doing it from my end. Okay. If I want, I can also use my particular IP. I'll show you if you want. So this is my IP. Once we go with default settings, and then we will try other ways. Okay. So now this is a final step. We have to check everything. Let us summarize what we have done so far. So this is just review part, the 7th part. In last 6 sections, 6 steps, we have done so many things. One is, in the first section, we have created, we have selected our IAM, AMI, our image. Okay, and then we selected instance type, which is T2 micro, which has 1 CPU and 1 memory, or 1 GB of memory. And then we have selected our security groups and instance details. This is a configuration section. Okay, all these what shows in. See here, user data is showing something like a key. Okay, and storage, we have selected 10 GB, and these are the tags we have given. So once you check that, you have to launch it. For launching, see here, this is one time, or you can do it all the time. But remember that one key is used for all the machines. But whenever you are working in different environments, for example, development environment, UAT, and production, make sure that depends on your purpose. You have to select your keys or create your keys. So I don't have any keys now. I have deleted before starting this session to show you. So create a new key pair. My web. So my web is my key name. Key is nothing but this is used for connecting to the servers. Okay. So for the first time it will generate, you cannot download it after that. But keys are very safe. I mean, you have to keep these keys in very safest place. Otherwise, you will have problems. Okay, I'll save this key here. Okay, you will not get a chance to download key again. Remember that. But if you are launching any machine, you have to download this key and keep it safe somewhere, and then you can share to your team if someone else is trying to, I mean, connect to the machine. Okay, then in this case, I'm launching this now. I have already downloaded the key, so now I'm launching the instance. So now it says the instance is now launching. View instance. Now it is pending. It takes some time. Let's wait. So in the meantime, we will check these things. This is the instance ID, which is unique. Okay. So actually, AWS recognizes the instances with. Oh, it didn't give any public. Okay. Okay. No problem. We will attach. Okay. AWS normally gives the instance ID here for anything, for images, for storage, everything you have IDs, for volumes, everything. Okay, state is running and we didn't have an elastic IP yet. So here is my security group. Okay, and my role, it is giving owner because I am the owner. This number is my um, account ID. Okay, so here you have the disk which you attached, and here is the private IP, and here is the public IP of that machine. Okay, the status is still showing initialized. Let us wait. And this is the status check. Whenever you have problem, you can see errors here. If something fails and you are unable to start the machine or connect the machine, normally you have to first come here and check the status. If something shows in red and it give you some information why it is happening, then you have to figure it out. You have to fix it. And monitoring tells you the utilization. For example, CPU utilization. It shows you in matrix. So how much CPU is being utilized, percent on time, and discrete operations, write operations, network in, how much data is coming in and how much data is coming out. Okay, all these details will be uh, listed in graphical way here. Okay, and here you can check your tags what you have given, so that in detail it will give you the information, because why it is being used and everything. Okay, it may take a few more minutes to launch, so please ask me if you have any doubts up to here. How to launch S3, what are the things we are configuring, anything, please ask me. Or if you have any doubts related to IAM S3, if you practiced, so you are free to ask. Don't you know? Okay, now it says 2 of 2 checks passed. 2 of 2 checks passed. That means our server is completely running. If you check here, everything is in green. Instance reachability check passed. If it is not passed, you cannot access. That is one check. And system reachability check is second check. So here you have two checks. Okay. So this is how you need to understand. So now I have, before connecting to that, I have installed my Apache. So some Apache here should come. This is the default page of Apache, which I ran through user data. I wrote a small script. Okay. So during the launch of Ubuntu itself, I installed Apache server. So this is the default page of Apache in Ubuntu. So my web server is ready. See, for example, if you have any files and you want to copy those files, you can copy all the HTML files to onto your machine, and your website is ready. You got my point? Right. Now we will check how to connect to this particular machine. How many of you know what is PuTTY? Please ping me. How many of you know what is PuTTY? And how do you connect to a Linux machine? Has anyone used has anybody used PuTTY in your company or at any point of time? See here. Now I'm trying to connect. Okay. Sai, you are an admin. I know you used it. So we use various tools to connect to our machine, our Linux machine. The best way and most used tool is PuTTY, and there is another application called PuTTY Keygen. I'll tell you. Give me a minute. So now I'm going to connect to the machine. How do I connect? That is the tricky part. Here you have connect button. Okay, when you choose that, it gives ssh-i and myweb.pem. Ubuntu is the default user of that particular image. Okay, this username may vary, depends on the image. If you are using Red Hat, EC2-user would be your default user. You have to check all the details here. So it gave complete instructions. Okay, open SSH client, connecting using PuTTY. You can have documentation on that. Okay, you have two different ways. One is standalone SSH client or a Java SSH client directly from the browser. You can also connect from browser if you have Java SSH client installed in from add-ons. Okay, and locate your private key and change the permission to 400. 400 means read write for owner, but not for anyone else. But no permissions for groups and others. So now these are the things. Let us check what permissions I have. I have 664 permission. Okay, we will discuss in detail in Linux session. 664 permission. So here you have read write and read write and read. Okay, Warner has read write permission. I'll tell you get reference here, my web. So see here, who is Warner? This is a file name, this is the owner name, and this is the group name is also J. Okay, user is here is Warner, user who wants it. So here user has read write permissions. Okay, for now I'll explain you what is read write. Okay, so for now, read, write, executable. These are the permissions. This is in binary 4 to 1, which is 7. Okay. If you have read, write, that is 4 plus 2 plus 0. Okay, which is 6. Okay, like this you have to use. Sessions in another machine. So this is how you have to choose the way. Okay, increases, I mean doubles is to 8, likewise. Since if you give 7 permission, that means read. Here we have 3 sections. One is user. So the first if you have D, that means it is a directory. If you have I, it is a link. Like a shorty indicates for the user. For user, whoever is in J group will have the permanent read. So this needs to be expose key file to others. You cannot use the command 400. So if you check here, itself is only having read permission. I don't have write permission. See here, I also have read permission. So now let us check what this is the beginning of RSA and letters. Well, system. Connect. What are the options? Okay, public DNS names here. Public IP or your private IP. In connection through VPN only you will be able to connect. Public IP address for all the machines. Okay, whenever you are running publicly exposed, not the other servers. But here I don't have any having public IP. Use the public DNS or you can use the public DNS or public DNS name. So SSH-I my IP or public DNS. If you try to connect this code fingerprint to share, selecting also connect it again. So what I'm and install the stuff. Otherwise, I will be charged. I'm stopping. I'll check tomorrow